Hi guys, I'm Alexander and today we're going to talk about SMSL SU-6 DAC. Hey, I'm Alexander and this channel is dedicated to honest and in-depth reviews of headphones, IEMs, headphone amplifiers, DACs and microphones. If you haven't subscribed yet, please consider subscribing to the channel and don't forget to click the notification bell. Today I'll be reviewing SMSL SU-6 DAC. This DAC was sent to me by shenzhenaudio, so thanks a lot guys for sending this over. It's also important to mention that I'm not getting paid to make this review, so all thoughts and opinions in today's video are my own. Let's start with the unboxing. SMSL SU-6 comes in a simple but at the same time in a stylish box. So inside the box we have the DAC, we do have power cable, we have USB cable to connect to computer, we have Bluetooth antenna, we have remote, manual and warranty card. The SU-6 DAC costs $169 and I'll leave a link in the description where you can purchase this DAC. The DAC comes in two colors, in silver and black, and I think that black looks a little bit better. The body of SU-6 is made from aluminum, it's quite simple but at the same time it's quite stylish and it's really well painted, and on the bottom of the DAC we do have rubber feet. The length of the device is 140 mm, the width is 105 mm and the height is 28 mm. The DAC in reality looks better than it looks on the pictures, and when you're holding it in your hand you actually feel that's a premium class device despite its price. On the front panel of the DAC we have LCD screen and the screen is covered by tempered glass, and also there is a small window for remote control, and also we have a button here, and it's important to mention that it's a sensor button. The display itself, it has 5 levels of brightness, so you can configure it the way it won't blind you, for example if you're using this DAC in a dark room. The sensor button on the front of the DAC has two functions. With a short press you are switching between the inputs, and with long press you can turn on and turn off the DAC. On the back side of the device we have the RCA outputs, it's unbalanced outputs. We have coaxial in, optical or Toslink in. We also have a USB-C socket to connect to a computer, and above the USB socket we also have a small socket where you mount the Bluetooth antenna that also comes with the DAC. After the antenna there is a socket to connect a power cable and also on-off switch. It's important to mention that this DAC is using a low noise power supply which is built in the DAC. I think it's a really good decision because a lot of other DACs that come in this pricing range, they either come with a large and ugly external power supplies, or they use a single USB cable to send data and power the device, or for example they're using one USB cable to power the device and the second USB cable to transfer the data. Despite the fact that SU-6 is generally considered as a mid-level DAC, SMSL used a really high-quality part inside this device. The DAC is using ES9038Q2M Sabre chip from ESS, and it works together with the Kinemoss USB processor. It's a second generation of Kinemoss USB processor, and it's used to decode the data coming from USB. The DAC also supports Bluetooth 5.0 and it supports codecs like LDAC, aptX, aptX HD, SBC and AAC. Also, there are 4 high-quality OPA 1612 op-amps used in this device, and the DAC itself supports PCM up to 768 kHz at 32 bits, and it also supports DSD including DSD 512. Dynamic range of the device is 125 dB, signal-to-noise ratio is 125 dB, output impedance is lower than 10 ohms, and the DAC is compatible with Windows, OS X and Linux. When you're turning the device on, the display shows you SU-6. When there is a music playing, so display is showing you the current bitrate of the file. and when you're playing music in DSD, the display is also showing you a DSD icon. If you want to change input, you can either use the sensor button on the front of the DAC, or you can change the input using the remote. When you're changing the inputs, the display is showing you selected input. The rest of the functions are accessible only from a remote. The remote itself looks really nice, it's really handy, and it requires 2 AA batteries to run. On the remote we have on-off button, we have the navigation buttons, we also have a central buttons for some settings that I'll cover a little bit later. Also we have a button to select the input, we have the function button, we have the mute button, and we have 2 volume buttons. When you're changing the volume, the display is showing you the current volume, and if you press the mute button, this value on the screen starts to blink. If during the playback you click FN button on your remote, you can switch off the display. For example, if the display is distracting in a dark room, you can completely switch it off with the FN button. When you press the central button on the remote, you get into settings menu, and there are 3 settings that you can change. The first setting is called BL, and it's a display brightness, so you can change it between 1 to 5. The second function is called DP, and actually this is a special function from ESS family. Generally what it does, for example, if you have unstable source of the signal coming to your DAC and there might be some sound interruptions, you can increase the DP value to avoid interruptions. But if you have a stable source of information which is coming to your DAC, then you can lower this DP settings. And the third function is called FL. It's actually built-in PCM filters, and we have 7 filters in this device. Honestly speaking, I was switching between the filters and I couldn't tell much of a difference between different filters, but I think if you're using this DAC with the end-game headphones and end-game amplifier, most probably the difference can be more obvious. Also, I'd like to mention that when you are changing the settings like DP, for example, or filters, the playback stops for half a second. Also, I'd like to mention how to connect this DAC with your smartphone. So first of all, you need to switch the input to BT, which is actually Bluetooth, and then on your smartphone you need to look into Bluetooth devices, you need to find the SMSL SU-6 and pair. Also, I'd like to mention that with some smartphones, when the Bluetooth connection is dropped, SU-6 doesn't automatically reconnect to your device. For example, if you go outside of a room and it loses the connection, then you come back, it might not always automatically reconnect to your device. And there's 2 ways how to solve the situation. The first, you can just reboot the DAC, and the second solution, you need to press and hold FM button on the remote for a few seconds, so the DAC will reconnect to your smartphone. Also, when you're playing music from your smartphone, the DAC display is showing you the name of the codec that it used to transfer the information. Now let's talk about how SU-6 sounds. I generally think that SU-6 provides a really good tonal balance, and it plays music the way it was recorded, without additional coloration, and in my opinion, the DAC is very linear and it's quite transparent. The resolution of this DAC is really good, and the sound is fast and clean. And as I said, this DAC plays the recording how it should be, and everything sounds really balanced. From the technical perspective, SU-6 is a really great DAC, and it has a very good implementation of the ESS chip. It also runs 4 high-quality op amps. It has Kinemoss USB 2nd generation controller. It has good number of inputs. It supports Bluetooth 5.0 as well, and also has built-in low noise power supply. Honestly, this is very impressive, and overall, I need to say that I was pleasantly surprised by performance of this DAC, and I think it sounds really good. If you're looking for universal DAC for your home system or for your desktop, and you need a good selection of inputs, you need a Bluetooth support, you need impressive specs and features because it's 2022, and at the same time you have a limited budget, I think the SMSL SU-6 should be definitely on your list. Alright guys, that's all for today. If this video was useful for you, please click the like button. If you haven't subscribed, please consider subscribing to my channel, and see you in the next video. Goodbye!